Hello, this is Ryan with Music Mastery, and in this second of a series of videos on fundamentals of the tenor saxophone, I'm going to be going over breathing, embouchure, and basic tone production. When starting breathing with any wind instrument, it's always important to do a few breathing exercises before we start trying to play the instrument. Generally speaking, wind instruments take a lot more air than just regular everyday breathing. And so we have to kind of train our lungs to be able to accept that amount of air and be able to push it out with the proper pressure. First thing we're going to want to do is sit up straight in our chair. You don't actually want your back up against the back of your chair. You're going to want to sit up towards the front of your chair, almost on the edge of your seat, so that your feet can remain flat on the floor and you can put your back in a nice relaxed but straight position. You don't want to be leaning back against the chair or slouching in any way, shape, or form. You're going to want to make sure that your head is also nice and straight, no tilting your chin down or tilting it up, so that you've got a nice even airway going all the way down to your stomach. Now, as we start breathing, we should talk about how to take a full, proper, deep breath. And the easiest way to do so is to take a trip to the tropics and talk about Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, while being a beautiful vacation destination, is also a really great syllable or vocable to use while we're breathing. There are 3 syllables to Hawaii, Hawaii. Each one of those syllables, if we say them while we're breathing in, is going to give us a different part of the lungs that are going to be filled. So the first syllable is going to fill up down in our stomach and down by our diaphragm. When we say the second syllable, we fill up our chest and we're able to then have a nice full tank of air in our lungs. And then saying that third syllable is going to fill up our mouth and give us the necessary velocity of air to quickly push air back out and into the instrument. So if we do that all at once, we get a nice full breath and we can feel what it feels like to fill our lungs completely. Now, saying the word Hawaii, while fun, is rather impractical in an actual playing setting. So to speed that process up, we're going to say the word how when we breathe. So we inhale, and that's going to give us the most capacity of air in our lungs for basically the best bang for our buck when it comes to breathing. When it comes to breathing out, we're going to want to form a proper embouchure. Best way to do this is to imagine you have a long wizard beard and point your chin. So you want to imagine sort of the 3 points of the wizard beard. Here are 1, 2. I have 2 dimples that show up where those 2 points are. This is me extending the deviation below my nose and below my bottom lip, so that this is as tall and vertical as possible. I'm creating 2 points right here where I'm pushing inwards towards the aperture of my mouth. Next, I'm taking the deviation above my top lip and my bottom lip, and I'm flattening it against my teeth so that there's no air pocket within. If you take your pointer finger, you should be able to feel whether there's any pockets of air or not behind those deviations. Finally, my chin, I'm not intentionally jutting it, but it becomes pointed, and that's the 3rd point of our wizard beard. When I push air through that embouchure, I get this sound. It's a very pressurized sound, and that's what we're looking for. So, we're going to take both of those concepts and we're going to apply them to the instrument. You're going to want to make sure that your reed is nice and wet for this. If you have a dry reed, generally speaking, you're going to get a squeak or some other noise that you're not looking for. So we'll make sure that our reed is nice and wet. We'll make sure it's properly aligned on the mouthpiece in such a way that there isn't any bit of it hanging out over the beat. It's not off alignment left to right, up and down, etc. Make sure our ligature is tightened to a point where the reed isn't going to move, but it isn't so constricted that it won't vibrate either. And we'll make sure to set up in a nice upright playing position with the tenor off to our right hand side and the mouthpiece adjusted so that it goes straight into our mouths without us having to adjust the angle of our head. We're going to take our first finger on this first pearl and we're going to put it down, and then we're going to do exactly what we just did, but we're going to do it into the mouthpiece. So when you breathe, you're not going to have a seal around the mouthpiece, but when you go to blow back in, you're going to take your upper lip. It's going to create a seal around the mouthpiece. Your top teeth are going to sit about 3/4 of an inch to perhaps a full inch onto the mouthpiece. Your top lips are going to create a seal, and then your bottom lip is going to lift up and gently place onto your bottom set of teeth to look something like this. Your corners are going to come in to form a seal. You're going to blow into the horn. You should get that note to come out. If that note doesn't come out and you get a squeak or something else, adjust the pressure with which you're sealing around the mouthpiece. You don't want to be biting, clamping down too hard, as that will restrict the reed from vibrating, but you don't want to be too loose. That's going to also restrict the reed from vibrating because it doesn't have anything to vibrate against. It would be like trying to place your finger on a guitar fret but not actually pressing down on it. The string wouldn't quite ring. It would just give you a dull thudding sound. Same is true of a reed. It needs proper support, just not too much support. With all of that being said, you can continue to use a fingering chart to experiment with different fingerings on the instrument and find other notes to play. And in the next video, we'll talk about warming up on the saxophone and what you should consider in creating an effective warm-up. Thank you for watching.